7:52. Aaron Katersky has been following this Boston bomber story since it began. Good morning, Aaron Katersky.
Hello, McGraw.
What's the latest?
There's a new court filing that really gives us the most insight we've had into the extent of Dzhokhar Tsarnaev's injuries from the night he was captured in a boat in Watertown, Massachusetts. And it also gives us a window into those frantic and pivotal hours after he was captured, how far he went, too, in trying to resist the FBI interrogation while he was chained to his hospital bed. That interrogation began almost immediately following life-saving surgery that Tsarnaev needed because his body was riddled with bullets. And he finally comes out of surgery, is given propofol, fentanyl, and other powerful painkillers, and the FBI starts asking questions.
All right, let's go back for a second. We all remember that Friday night where he was found in that boat. That was what? How long was he in that boat for?
Well, that's he was caught at about 9 o'clock at night, I think it was, and he had been in there seemingly following the shootout that killed his brother. So he had been in there quite a long time, and it was a neighbor who went to go check on that boat. You remember that?
Sure.
And noticed some blood trickling out, and that's when authorities learned that it was Tsarnaev. We heard the crackling of automatic fire. And a lot of those bullets hit Tsarnaev. And when he was brought to Beth Israel Hospital, doctors immediately intubated him, went through emergency surgery, and he came out with his eyes sutured shut, his jaw wired closed, unable to speak and unable to hear very well. So he was writing his responses to the FBI questions. And almost immediately, defense attorneys say he assured the FBI there was no longer a public safety threat. And the questions continued, everything from sports and his career goals to his views on Islam to the pressure cooker bombs that he and his brother detonated at the marathon finish line.
Is it true that since he couldn't communicate, and as you said, he could only write, did he write lawyer to these people?
10 different times, his attorneys say, and any attempts by attorneys to get into the hospital room where all this was taking place were rebuffed by the FBI. And one agent, according to court records, even said, oh, he's not being held here. So there was no even attempt to get counsel in. And that's part of the reason why defense attorneys say any statements that he made under these conditions should be thrown out. Prosecutors have not formally responded, but they say they don't intend to use these statements anyway at trial, so the issue may be moot.
Since only the FBI and the authorities were in the room, how do we know that he wrote lawyer on this pad?
Good question. None of these interviews were recorded, so it's only the FBI notes that the defense attorneys have had access to. They quote from some of them, but we haven't seen them in their entirety and may never. They could, remain redacted to us. The FBI asked him all these questions. In addition to writing lawyer, he also apparently wrote rest several times as he wanted a break. But the 36-hour interrogation included some set breaks, but without a real pattern to keep Tsarnaev, I guess, on his toes and answering as truthfully as possible. We're told that the FBI lied to him about his brother. He asked if his brother was still alive. They said yes. But Tsarnaev seemed to know otherwise as he pressed them. Are you lying to me?
Is this pad still available? Have they kept the pad?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, that would all be preserved. But whether we ever see it, who knows? And none of this is to say that there's any sympathy for Dzhokhar Tsarnaev.
Sure.
You'd be hard pressed to find any. But the defense is arguing that his constitutional rights were violated. We did a lot of reporting, and I think we probably had the conversation, McGraw, that he was questioned under the public safety exception and not Mirandized until after that 36-hour period. That's finally when lawyers were brought in and when his rights were read.
Expand on that, because they were wanting to see if anybody else was in danger.
Right. The immediate concern was, is there a lingering public safety threat? Now, defense attorneys say Tsarnaev took care of that question right away. And so they're upset that there were more questions over that 36-hour period, including things like his career goals and his view on sports. But this is all part of the FBI interrogation technique, and so that those questions continued for that period of time while he's chained to his hospital bed, and trying to speak again, hear properly, and recover from injuries.
Now, how do we know this again? What was released?
This is all contained in a defense motion to suppress his initial statements to the FBI under grounds that his constitutional rights were violated. And the prosecutors have indicated to the defense that they don't intend to use these statements at trial. So it's not clear how the judge is ultimately going to rule. The defense says regardless they should be suppressed, and so they put all this in a motion that was given to the court and made public yesterday.
Do we know if he has recovered fully from all of his injuries?
Seemingly so. He's no longer in the kind of intense medical under the kind of intense medical care that he was, but he's still locked up and will be until his trial, which is still set to begin in early November. There are a couple of more motions due later on this month, and then I'm sure there'll be other dates in the subsequent months. But the real next step is November 3rd when he's scheduled to go on trial.
Interesting stuff. Aaron Katursky, ABC News correspondent. Have a good weekend, Aaron. Thanks for checking in.
Me too, McGraw. Thanks.
7:58, Big 550, KTRS, St. Louis Plaza.